Good morning, Brad.
Good morning, McGraw.
Explain the relationship between the FBI and the President of the United States.
Well, it is a bit contradictory in the following way. The president, if there's a vacancy, the president nominates a person, and obviously they're going to pick somebody that they want. But then after they pick them and they're confirmed by the Senate, they're supposed to be totally independent, apolitical. If it's anything sensitive in reference to, let's say, the White House, you just don't really brief them. You go through their general counsel with things you can tell them, and you go from there. So all of that sort of gotten thrown out the window with President Trump because he just likes to go directly to people and use the tactics, I'm going to guess, that he used in business, which, I think aren't working out too well.
Forget this Russian investigation. If it's just a terrorist investigation, the FBI talks to the president all the time, doesn't he? Or no?
Correct. I mean, the president basically, McGraw, can read and talk to anybody he wants. I mean, he literally is the guy who can say, brief me on this. I want to read the documents. I think, Obama was a big reader. I think he read a lot of classified stuff, so he really had the minutia of what he was making a decision on. So, yes, he's the guy that can have everything if he wants it. However, there is a protocol when it comes to if, in fact, you might be involved, you, the president, might be involved, or your people might be involved.
A lot of people are making a big stink about the private one-on-one conversations, and that Donald Trump asked everybody to leave the room, and he had a private one-on-one conversation with James Comey. Why is that so terrible? Or is it?
I don't think that. No, I don't think it's terrible. I mean, if McGraw, if you and I worked together, or I worked for you, and you said, Brad, I want to talk to you about X. There's 6 other people in the room, then the other, 5 would leave and we would chat. So that in and of itself, I don't think is any big deal. It's the tenor and tone of the conversations and maybe the intent of having him alone. If in fact the intent, and I don't know this, was to strong arm him to a certain extent to get him to maybe tone down or try to shut down the Russian investigation, or in particular Flynn's part of the investigation, that's a whole different deal. But the whole idea, McGraw, that you've got him alone, I can't make that into any big deal.
Yeah, but it's what was being said. James Comey has, rumored to have said, "Don't leave me alone in a room with this guy," and he made me feel uncomfortable asking me for certain things. That's where the red flags start to rise?
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, because he's the boss. And if the boss asks you or wants you to do something or tells you to do something, you go do it. And so it's like he can't really say, I'm not going to talk to you or I'm not going to meet with you. I mean, if the president orders it, he orders it. So I think what Comey was trying to do is get a witness in the room because he thinks that things that are being said are inappropriate and go way beyond the boundaries of a conversation that should occur in reference to an investigation that might come back to some of the president's people, that you need somebody else there, or we for sure shouldn't be having this conversation alone.
The question I want answered today, and I want to hear Comey answer this question, why is this? If you felt uncomfortable and you didn't want to be in a room with him and you felt he was doing something inappropriate, why did you stay? Why didn't you stand up and quit?
Because I don't know that you'll get the truth, but I think the answer would be because I really love this job and I want to keep it. I'm going to say that's going to play into this to a certain extent. He may also have been given the president somewhat a benefit of the doubt that, look, you don't know really what you're doing here. You haven't been in government. You don't know the protocol. You don't know that these kind of conversations really aren't appropriate. So maybe there's some of that play into this. We'll see if he goes into that. He's going to be asked, McGraw, a lot of questions today that he's just not going to answer because I will tell you this has been scripted to a certain extent. He and Mueller, the special counsel, they have to be careful because Mueller's trying to do a criminal investigation, and he doesn't want Comey to sort of muck that up.
A lot of people freaked out when President Trump said, I've asked him 3 different times if I'm under investigation, and he said no. Can Trump ask him that question, or is that inappropriate?
Well, Personally, I think that's an inappropriate question for the president to ask. However, it appears that he did ask it. And I think Comey is just telling him it's kind of a generic answer. He's saying, no, you personally, but in effect, yes, you as an organization. That is what's under investigation. So I will tell you this. It struck me when I read that the first time, or we heard it the first time, that it's not something that other people would have said. It's something I would not have said. I would just have said, I can't answer that.
Well, there's right. We get that, but President Trump is a bull in the china closet, and so he doesn't he doesn't stay to traditional norms. But is it nefarious? Is it over the line? Is it how inappropriate is it, and or how awkward is it? Right. I mean, that's the $64,000 question.
Right. Clearly awkward. That's a given based on Comey's. Sort of, as I said, it's a contradictory situation where you do get appointed by or recommended by the guy, confirmed by the Senate, but then you kind of have to keep him at arm's length if in fact it involves him. So that's a tough sort of bridge to walk, and particularly when you got a guy that's not is just going to ask and do whatever comes to his mind.
Yeah, Brad Garrett, never a dull moment around here. ABC News crime and terrorism analyst, also former FBI man. Brad, thanks for checking in.
Take care, McGraw.
627, big